Go there, I'm on. I'm on. Whoa. Well, I'm going to say this just to you, Claire, because this is only going out to you. I'm not giving anything serious away yet. You're the only one who replied this week, so there you are. I don't know what's going on with the rest of them, but you know, what can I tell you? Meaningless prattle because you're on nights, not you, Claire. Absolutely not. Blinking heck. I wish they were all like you. I've got to tell you that, because you just write some really, for me as a person in a distant city and all the rest of it, it's just absolutely fascinating reading what you write. You know, one of the things I like about your posts is the ongoing sort of review. You don't just give your opinions about the contents of what's in the what's in the lessons. You will say, interesting lesson this. I like the way the speaker says this. I like the way the speaker says that. And by heck, isn't he interesting? Isn't Chris Nicholson interesting? And he knows everything about the business. It's shocking what he knows. Always friendly, always a delight to talk to. Doesn't matter. And right through the middle of this, you know, all sorts was going on in his life, you know, and it just kept the discipline, kept going, cheerful, the whole thing. Cognitive impairment, isn't it a subject? It is. One of my ex-students got a paper published, Nursing Standard, Professional Nurse, British Journal of Cardiac Nursing, something like that. She, from her essay on the module, she got a paper published on if assisted suicide were ever legalised, would it ever be possible for a person with heart failure to sign up for assisted suicide? Because it's so well described, cognitive impairment. For a decision that is as serious as that, you would have to doubt whether or not the person was capable of giving full and informed consent. Because not only is there cognitive impairment derived from all the things that you said, the anemia, the blood clot, the underperfusion, I mean, that would be enough, yeah? But then lay on top of that the sort of torpor and the lethargy that comes with feeling depressed, and depressed is extremely well reported in heart failure, and you know, for good reason. I don't think it's appropriate really to talk about depression in heart failure, because there's something about the word depression which implies irrational, that you're depressed. There's no real cause for it. It's coming out of you. You know, there's no real reason, but you just feel low. Well, there's absolutely every reason to feel low with heart failure, because you feel so bad. Your life is dictated by a load of tablets, and you know, because everyone tells you that the life expectancy of a person with your condition is pretty limited. Cheer up, you know. Cause of impairment, yes. Low cardiac output, embolus, yeah. Glycemic control, good one, yeah, good one. But there's as many theories as there are people who do the studies, aren't there? You know. Yes, I made a note of this while I was reading your stuff. This is a really popular subject for an assignment. Yeah, really popular. So think about that, and think about getting published as well, Claire. You're a good writer, you know. You can imagine here the potential with poor cognition for bad compliance, bad concordance. You know, it's hard enough. You know yourself as well as I do that if you get put on a course of antibiotics, one way or another, when you're supposed to have finished the course, you've still got one left. You know, somehow, somewhere, you missed it. Well, imagine what that feels like if it's a statin that you're taking, and an antihypertensive, and an ACE inhibitor, and a beta blocker, and an aspirin. You know, it's amazing anybody manages it. Poor compliance, absolutely. The emotional chaos that's taken place. You've gone into hospital with a simple bit of chest pain, and now you've come home and you can't get up the staircase. And everyone's telling you don't look well, and you're starting to look pasty and puffy with the water. And on top of everything else, you know, that's one thing you did. Did you mention that? Another cause of cognitive dysfunction. You've got a waterlogged brain. It's not just your lungs, it's not just your ankles that are waterlogged. It's your brain tissue, which, as you know, has all the consistency of pate. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. This is the logic for telephone support. You know, having somebody at the end of a phone that you can ring up. I feel a bit more breathless today. What shall I do? Really good reports about services like this. There was an Argentinian study which looked at all of this and good results. The services that I visited in France, telephone service, telephone backup, ringing up, how are you doing? You know with heart failure that the people who fail soonest are going to be the people who are most distant and most lost to services. You just know that for a fact, don't you? Sex advice? What? In Wales? Tough one. Real tough one. And you mentioned, you know, that the elderly person might be embarrassed about bringing this up. What about the 37-year-old? Oh, God. What about the fellow who's 45 and now he can't do his job and he's lost his role in the family and his missus? You know, what about the poor woman who's knackered all the time and the last thing she feels like is entertaining him? Who's still as frisky as ever, by the way. Where'd you start? You know, when you think a lot of these people are on nitrates as well, and therefore Viagra's not really an option for them. Do these feelings ever go away, I wonder? You know, when you're 75, do you think, oh well, I've had a good innings? I doubt it. I doubt it very much indeed. I thought by 55 all these feelings would have gone, but one way or another I've still got the old eyeball out on the tree. Shouldn't say that, should I? Shouldn't say that. Sodium restriction. Well, it depends on your taste. Interesting to see that you... interesting to see that you've started to go without salt. I wonder why that is, Claire? Ooh, wonder why that is. When I've got a face-to-face group in, sometimes I make bread without salt and I put salt-free butter on it and it tastes vile. It tastes like you're eating one of them polystyrene roof tiles. No good. Not for me anyway, not personally. You know, and as your taste buds get a bit older, so they become blunted, don't they? And you're incapable of sensing the wide range of flavours that maybe when you're young you can get. And salt it's a blunt instrument, isn't it? And at least it's something. And you've given up so many other things in life. And water, you mentioned. Water's a bit trickier because, you know, once the weather gets warm, you've already told them to exercise. Incidentally, Claire, I wrote a paper that got published in the British Journal of Cardiac Nursing on heat waves and heart failure. You might be interested in digging that one out. That was a fascinating paper to write, as a matter of fact. Really, really interesting one to write. And I read all around the subject as well, you know, what's going on in heat waves. Have a little look at it, see what you think. Because we're going to get a heat wave again and they kill people by the tens of thousands. Believe me, it's astonishing. Yes, last thing, nobody's gone on the Facebook page yet, but I intend to get the ball rolling, and I do envisage it as a ball. That is to say, roll and get people recruiting and get a talk going between different units and different services. So, you know, feel free to have a go. I've got another group that are starting on Monday the 3rd, and these are from all over the country again. Yeah, you know what, Claire, I would have rather you'd have been on that one, you know, because you might have had a bit more of a chat with people. It's only me. But we're starting them. I'll get them recruited onto Facebook as quickly as I possibly can. And, you know, maybe that's a way of building in some of the social aspects of being on a course that a course like this inevitably misses out on. Lovely to speak to you again, Claire. Fantastic work. Well pleased with you. I'll speak to you either next week or during the week or something or other when I get a chance. I'm off next week, so woohoo! See you next week.